get in here and make sure I have one that'll go up. Some of them stay though, they'll kind of start. Good evening. Welcome. So happy to have all of you here tonight for this Town of Wendell Board of Commissioners meeting. Our Pledge of Allegiance tonight, and in our Pledge of Allegiance tonight, we're going to be led by Gabrielle Buchanan. Gabrielle, if you can come up. She is a student at Eastwake High School. Gabrielle Buchanan is a senior at Eastwake High School, an AB Honor Roll student with a 3.75 GPA. That's very good. And a member of the Top Teens of America for the Wendell Chapter, a member of the Beta Club, the Pass It Forward Club, the National Technical Honor Society, the Future Farmers of America, and the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. Very busy. On top of that, Gabby was the captain of the women's varsity basketball team and the women's varsity tennis teams. She's recently been awarded the MVP for this past season, all-conference and academic all-conference in women's varsity tennis. So we are very proud of you, very proud of the women's basketball team that just did so well. Congratulations for that. We just wanted to have you here tonight and tell you how proud we are of you and wish you the best of luck next year in college.
Thank you.
Okay. And she's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to be hearing from Covenant Presbyterian Church, Bob Fleming. Good evening, Mr. Fleming. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather together, we come from different walks of life, and we have different objectives in many cases of even being here. But we pray for your leadership, guidance, intervention, and help us to all be aware of your presence as we gather together to do what is best for our community and for each other as individuals. May we leave this place in fellowship and honoring you, and doing so by being courteous to each other and willing to serve and wanting to serve. These things we pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you so much. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. I want to say real quickly first, if you're here regarding item number 5, I need you to hold on a moment and speak at that time, and I'll give you a chance to be sworn in. So I'm going to start with Ray Hennett. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Ray Hennett. I live at 205 Dogwood Trail in Wendell. And tonight I want to speak on the plan by the City of Raleigh to reduce our water bills in Wendell. The town, according to the paper, the town has 3 years left on its contract with the City of Raleigh to complete the merger of the water and sewer system. They're offering a reduction of whole $40 for 2 years if Wendell sells back some of its water capacity to Raleigh. A former town board entered into this merger with the City of Raleigh many years ago, and they bought a lot more capacity for water than they needed. And they did that because they knew the town was going to grow, and they wanted to be ready for the growth when it came. And guess what? It's here. I guarantee you, if we return some of this water to Raleigh, and then in a few years you need some capacity, the amount that you would pay for it in a couple of years would have no comparison to what they gave us in returning this water. So we've been paying these high water bills for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I say let's bite the bullet, pay them for 3 more years, finish the contract, and then we'll get a reduction in our water bills, and we will own the capacity outright. Thank you.
Thank you. Regina Harmon.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor, Town Manager, citizens. My name is Regina Harmon. I live at 6616 Tails Branch Road. I'm actually here to talk a little bit about the water policy as well. Several months back, you guys voted to reduce the square footage on the housing that we were allowed to build as far as housing. And I know that there was a little bit of controversy on it, everything like that. And I did spoke in negative about it, and I did not want it to be reduced. And the reason I didn't want it to be reduced was because we wanted to build a little bit better homes. We wanted to bring a little bit better quality. But one of the things that you guys promised at the time you would get together and you would talk about it, even though you reduced it, I think it was like 400 square feet. Where you reduced it, you were going to get together and you were going to talk about all of the items underneath and how you could bring those items better for the citizens of Wendell and to tap into that water, that those items would allow people to build better homes that would bring better quality of living to our community. So it's just not out at Wendell Falls, it's all throughout Wendell. And I'm here tonight to remind you of that because at this point, you know, I'm not aware if you guys have done that yet and you've gotten together and talked about those issues, discussed those issues underneath the water allocation policy, which you did say that you guys would do in order to come up with better ways for us to be able to build homes and bring homes into our community. So I'm asking again for you guys to get together and please look at that water allocation policy and come up with a plan on how, if we're going to keep that low number in the square footage for our homes, how we can build better homes related to that number instead of just throw up homes. So we have lots of subdivisions throughout all of Wendell. And I have noticed a lot of building going on, which is a positive thing. We just want to make sure that throughout all of Wendell, we're definitely making positive opportunity to bring the positive growth so we can grow our downtown area all throughout the town of Wendell, and we have an opportunity for better businesses to come and people with more spendable income that can actually shop at these businesses. So these better homes do more than just build a house. It actually upholds your town and it actually allows your town to grow because of that. So my light went yellow, so that means I've only got like 30 seconds left. Thank you very much, and I really do appreciate it if you would, you know, look into this a little bit more because it has been, I don't know, about 8 months now since you changed that policy. So thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4A is the recognition of Eastwake High School teacher Dick Dupree. Dupree, if you can come up here. Tony Dupree is the Special Populations Coordinator and Varsity Girls Basketball Coach at Eastwake High School. She attended Eastwake High School from 1994 to 1998 and played varsity girls basketball all 4 years. During those years, she scored over 1,000 points. She was a starter on Eastwake 4A 1997 girls basketball state championship team and was the team MVP, All-Conference, and Wake County Player of the Year. Wow. Dupree was a member of the 1998 volleyball team her senior year, participated in track and field all 4 years. In 1998, regionals top 3 in throwing discus and advanced to state to finish the top 10. Coach Dupree received a basketball scholarship to High Point University and graduated in 2002 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Systems. She also has a master's degree from North Carolina State in school counseling. where she started working and coaching at Eastwake High School in October of 2002. She's been the assistant track coach for 4 years and the JV girls basketball coach for 7 years. She started coaching the varsity girls basketball team in 2009. Coach Dupree's teams have made the state playoffs for 8 years. She was voted the Greater Neuse River Coach of the Year in 2015, 2018, and 2019. So that's right now. Congratulations very much. Coach Dupree was honored to be an assistant coach for the East team in the North Carolina East-West All-Star Game in 2014. She has a 162-71 coaching record. Coach Dupree has been working at Eastwake High School for 16 years and enjoys working with the students. She is married to Leon Dupree and has 2 daughters, Paige and Lee. Or is it Leah? Leah. We just wanted to have you come here tonight so we could thank you for all the things that you do for our kids at Eastwake High School and in Wendell. We really appreciate it. And I also wanted to congratulate you. You've just had some big victories of the basketball team. I'm really, really proud. This timing couldn't have been better. And so we want to thank you for everything that you do. So thank you. Do you have anything you'd like to say? You have the floor.
I do. I just want to thank you all for this recognition. As it says in the writing, that I was being at Eastwake for 16 years. I'm a graduate from there. So I've seen the changes that's happened in the last 16 years and when I graduated. And I've noticed a change, and our numbers have actually dropped at Eastwake High School when we merged into one school, comprehensive high school. And to me, it's kind of heartbreaking for our own community to send students to other counties and other schools because they feel like it's better. And to me, Eastwake is a great school. Every school have its stuff, so no school is better than any other, but we have a good school. We have the top 3 CTE programs, which is career technical education courses, where students are learning different skills for the workplace, like automotive, healthcare. They're learning foods, how to cook, parenting. It's a lot of things that we offer at Eastwake High School, and I just wish and hope that our community start back sending your kids back to Eastwake, because it's going to make it better. So regardless of the negative comments you may hear about Eastwake, I've been there 16 years, and I'm proud to say I'm an Eastwake warrior. So I would just hope that other people will feel that way and just give more community support to our school and send the kids back, because our numbers have dropped dramatically, and I hope to one day see those numbers come up. And then just a few other things, if you don't mind.
That's okay. Go ahead.
All right. So just to kind of advocate for our school, we have testing coming up in June, EOCs, June the 5th, and we do need proctors and volunteers to come out and help. So if you want to contact our school, you contact Katanya Ford. Her email is kford@wcpss.net. But we do need proctors to come out. We need volunteers. Just come out to the school. Come look. Feel free to just come by. The other things are we do need more community support for our students. We have a lot of things that goes on in our school in the afternoons, and there's not a lot of people in the stands. I've been coaching basketball, and I don't see the support that we've had in the past maybe 10 years. It's dropped. So I would hope that not only for basketball, but for all sports, that people will come out and support the students. Other things, like our athletics department, we need a dryer. Our dryer has been broken since August, and our funds we don't have a lot of funds right now to get a dryer or get it fixed. So we're trying to make do with what we have as far as getting our uniforms and stuff dried. So we do need a dryer. Let's see, coming up, we have cycles where each team get different uniforms. Our cycle is coming up for the girls basketball team to get new uniforms. Just helping to donate some money towards that would be good, or towards our boys basketball program. They had an awesome year too. If you haven't heard, they won their conference, so they did awesome too. And they need stuff also. it's a program called Huddle, where you can record the games, and it's easy to send out video to colleges and stuff like that for these athletes. So it just to help them with that, the funding for that. What else? Trying to see what else going down my list. But hopefully I haven't missed anything, but the main thing was just try to support our school, send your kids back to East Wake to make it great. So that's all I have to say, and thank you for everything, and thank you for the recognition.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I have to say, it makes me very happy to hear you working hard for your school and advocating for your school. So thank you for that. Thank you for being an advocate for your school. Item 4B is the recognition of Zachary Fike
Yes, ma'am.
for his Eagle Scout project at the Wendell Police Department. We're going to hear from Police Chief Bill Carter.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Madam Mayor, and members of the board. Excited to come before you this evening to make a presentation to you on behalf of a recently completed project, Eagle Scout project by Zachary Fike at the Wendell Police Department. Right after we installed the basketball goals at the police department, it became apparent there was a need for kids to have a place, and not just kids, but adults, to have a place to stop, take a break, sit down. And so we began to look at options. But all those options we were looking for shared one thing in common, and that was to have a community project, something service-driven, something that we could all benefit from. And we started off with a simple conversation with one of the younger scout groups, and all of a sudden I got an email from Barbara Shepard, who coordinates the Eagle Scout projects with 515 troop, and she asked me to look at this as an Eagle Scout project. Well, I'm vaguely familiar, but I can tell you I personally learned a lot both from you and the project as a whole. And it's essential for an Eagle Scout candidate to complete a service project in order to fulfill the requirements for Eagle Scout. As I was researching it, I found something I thought was very telling about the Eagle Scout projects. In a publication about the project as a whole, there's a paragraph. I want to take a minute and read it to you. The Eagle Scout rank and the service project. Service to others is an important part of the Scout oath, part of that being to help people at all times. Each year, tens of thousands of Scouts strive to achieve the coveted Eagle Scout rank by applying character, citizenship, and Scouting values to their daily lives. One of the rank requirements is to plan, develop, and give leadership to others through a service project helpful to any religious institution, school, or community. Through this requirement, Scouts practice what they've learned and gain valuable project management and leadership experience. And that summed up this experience from the beginning to the end, I think, for all of us, for the community as well as for Zach. Zachary is a sophomore at Wake Forest High School, which I never told you this, but I graduated there as well. So, awesome. Sharing that with mine. He's a member of the junior ROTC program and is part of its Sabre team. He enjoys playing basketball, baseball, and video games with his younger brother Nolan, who I believe is in attendance, and is also a soon-to-be imparting on a Eagle Scout project. So we may see this family again in a few years, or maybe sooner. Zachary's been involved in scouting since the age of 7. He serves as an assistant patrol leader in Wendell's Troop 515, and in that capacity helps to lead the younger scouts. Zachary's commitment to scouting has been recognized over the last 3 years as he's been chosen to attend the Boy Scouts' largest national high adventure base. He did that last summer when he attended for leadership training. And also National Advanced Youth Leadership Training. As I mentioned above, the requirement to fulfill this rank is extensive. It's not just going out and building. Our meetings, he did it from the beginning to the end, all parts of it. He was responsible for developing a plan which addressed the process from beginning to end, how to acquire the materials, the coordination of volunteers, as well as serving as the construction manager on the day of the build. He and a very small team were first on the scene and last to leave. Leading up to the build, we met a number of times. He would have to come in with his proposal to show us what he was proposing, how it had been designed, how he was going to make it all work, as well as an implementation schedule. Once it was approved on this end, it had to then go back before the, is it Awahili? Okay. District Advance Chair for the approval, which occurred in mid-November of 2018. His goal was simple, to create a safe and effective social area that could be used by community members using the basketball court. Well, as we all know, the winter didn't exactly shape up like we thought it would. We got an early snow, and the holidays roll around, so it kind of delayed us. But it gave us a break, and on a cold, blustery January Saturday morning, Zachary, along with a few people, arrived early, but the workforce quickly grew to almost 24 of all ages, and I truly mean of all ages. There were folks out there doing a little bit of everything. When he started that morning, he got there, the first thing he was doing was unloading bags of concrete. But he went from unloading to coordinating the team members, and by day's end, they had completed the project with the construction of a seating area with 3 benches, a mulched area surrounding those 3 benches, and the repurposing of sod that was removed into an area that we needed some sod, general landscaping cleanup, and also as a bonus, because the project does require kind of a surprise bonus, he built a trash can enclosure, which is designed to complement the benches and which looks a lot better than the roll-off cart that we had out there before. Now, with that being said, as everybody's going to quickly point out, Zachary as well, he's not quite through. He's going to be back with us in April, get a little warm weather, get this wood to age out a little bit, and to apply a coat of stain to the trash can as well as the benches. I can say on behalf of the police department and everybody involved, we've been extremely proud to have had the opportunity to help someone such as Zachary fulfill one of the critical steps of becoming an Eagle Scout. We're very proud of the contribution you've made and your project makes to the police department grounds and to the basketball area as well. And I'm very comfortable in saying that Zachary met his goal for this project in an outstanding manner. So kudos to you, Zachary. Many thanks to you and the team that you led. You have the floor.
What do I say though? Well, I guess I'm really happy that the project presented itself when it did, because I was in need of one and was in current planning of one with my grandmother. And that one right there is the whole reason I've gotten as far as I have, with the support of my family. Those 3 back there were also with me during the project. I'm very happy for their help. My grandfather as well. I'm just happy for all the love and support that I've gotten with this, and I'm very grateful for them.
I'm sure they're very proud of you. Good job,
Zachary.
mother, granddaddy, mom and dad, and brother. I think that's who's here.
Zachary, I got a question for you. What, when you were doing this, what was the thing that day on the 5th? What went unplanned? What did you not see coming?
that, and I thought it was going to be a bit warmer, but, nope, it was cold.
Made it work. I've got nothing but admiration for anybody that reaches that rank. I will say that you've done the first thing correctly in turning around to thank your parents and your troop and your support staff. Take this process that you went through, and you won't understand it for a couple years, but in 5 or 10 years, when you hit a really big thing at work or a big thing in college, take everything that you did through the Eagle process, apply it to that process, and I promise you'll come out with a good outcome. You did well here, and I know you'll do well in the future.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're proud of you. And just so anybody is curious, if anyone's curious, we're always happy to have Eagle projects, and so bring more. Whoever was calling and wondering, we'd love to have more. All right, item number 5 is a special use request by Maria Zarate and Filberto Ramirez to permit a neighborhood manufacturing use to operate in the rear portion of property located at 36 North Main Street. I'm going to hear from Planning Director David Bergmark.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board.
What?
Hold on one second. Have to swear in the...
Town attorney provides your overview.
You're correct.
Well, very quickly, this is,
Give us the rules.
this is a special use permit application. These are what are called quasi judicial proceedings. Unlike legislative rezonings, testimony is sworn under oath. It's not the typical legislative process. It's more like a court proceeding where you're to base your decision on the evidence presented at the hearings. And if it meets the criteria set forth in the code, then the permit should be allowed.
So the town clerk is going to provide the oath for anyone wishing to present testimony. So if anyone wishes to present testimony, step up.
Yeah, anyone that wants to speak on this item, present testimony. Do we have a member of the applicant here?
And that includes the applicant.
Yes, you as well. Yes, please.
It's all at one time.
At the same time. Yeah, everybody together. Yeah, all at the same time.
Raise your right.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to provide to the board is factual and true, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to hear from Mr. Bergmark, staff presentation.
Thank you. As stated, this is a special use request by Maria, and I don't know the pronunciation, so I apologize for that, Zarate and Filiberto Ramirez to permit a neighborhood manufacturing use in the rear portion of property that's at 36 North Main Street. Tonight, you're just being asked to hold a hearing and consider taking action on this request. This is where the old flower shop was at 36 North Main. So 36 North Main is actually multiple tenant spots. The applicant is making this request in order to allow a rear portion of the space to be used for some assembly. So the front portion would be a cabinet showroom to do, but in the rear, approximately a quarter of the space, 448 square feet out of a total of 1,940, they want to use that spot to do some assembly of the cabinet, prefabricated cabinet pieces that come in. Just to show you in general where it is, and it's also what it's zoned. So it's zoned at our downtown mixed-use district. So across the street from this is where you have dog groomers, 41 North, and Mortex is currently in that same property address of 36 North Main Street. The majority of the tenant space would be used again as a cabinet showroom, which would fall under the general retail category. The general retail category would be permitted by right in the DMX district, but the light assembly that's being proposed by the applicant would fall under a category of neighborhood manufacturing, which requires a special use permit within the DMX district, and would kind of created this request. And all adjacent properties are also in the DMX district. So to give you an idea of how we define neighborhood manufacturing, we define it as the assembly, fabrication, production, or processing of goods and materials using processes that ordinarily do not create noise, smoke, fumes, odors, glare, or health or safety hazards outside of the building and are visually undifferentiated from an office building. This can include things like medical and testing laboratories, but can't include anything that requires frequent deliveries by truck with more than 2 axles. The idea behind this category, we have 3 types of manufacturing: neighborhood, light, and then heavy. The idea behind this one is that from the outside, you shouldn't be able to really tell that there's anything manufacturing going on. So that's what these different standards are trying to get to in terms of odors, noise, smoke, truck delivery. On-street parking would be used to satisfy the parking needs, and there's no site improvements that are being proposed or planned that would impact other things like landscaping or stormwater or public utilities or anything along those lines. Again, the primary use of this space as a showroom would be permitted under the current regulations, but the request for the rear space does require this board's approval in order to confirm that it would not negatively impact adjacent uses. You have included as an attachment a kind of list of the general requirements for consideration for approval of any special use permit application. Given the applicant's proposal, staff does not foresee negative impacts related to the noise or dust or traffic. The noise ordinance that the town has townwide within the corporate limits would still apply. If the town desired to do so, if there were concerns over that, there could be a condition attached to it stating something along the lines that the ambient noise levels outside of this door can't be higher than the ambient noise levels for the other businesses on the same block, something along those lines, if there were a concern of that nature. That's all I have on this item. I'd be happy to address questions, or we could
We're going to hear from the applicant now.
Certainly.
Hello everyone. I am so sorry that I was late today. I wasn't watching my phone in the past 3 hours. I was watching my regular time, which is 6:35, and my regular watch. I'm so sorry that I was waiting. We were waiting 3 months for this moment, and I was feel so bad. So, yeah, uh, as David said, we were trying to get we fall in this category. We've been told to fall in this category as a manufacturer, but we consider like we not manufacture anything, but we were advised.
This permit.
Yeah, we were advised to follow that category because the reason of ensembling cabinets. This company it calls Kitchen Cabinet. This company distributes throughout Raleigh and throughout the state. It calls Kitchen Cabinet Distributors, KCD. Their headquarters are in Raleigh, downtown Raleigh. And what they do is they sell cabinets prefabricated, and we had the choice whether have them flat in the package, where we can assemble ourselves, or we can have it already assembled. We had to pay extra fee for get them assembled, which is in this case I think would be ideal from us because we don't have the time. Myself, I don't have the time to inspect every cabinet. Let's say we had a job in certain place and we need 10 cabinets, and I'd rather have it pay $17 per cabinet to get them assembled and just come and pick it up. And most of the time they've been delivered to the site where we the project is going on. I'm sorry I didn't introduce my wife. It's my wife and business partner, and we're trying to bring some business to the town. We fall in love. We have we previously had about a month or two. We did one project not far away in Wendell. I've never been in Wendell. We've always been around Cary and Apex and there. So our first project was about a month, and the owner, when we did this project, advised us to walk around and see what the Wendell town looked like, and we just like it. We like it so much, and we never thought that we're gonna because as painting business we don't require as establishment for painting business, because what we do is we go to the sites and give an estimate, and then if the customer agrees, we will write a proposal, contract, and all that, and then we don't need an establishment for a painting business. But since our customer they like so much our job, they move us forward to get them kitchen cabinet for them, to get in more jobs than they initially was painting. So they've convinced us to help them on their project. So we have our fabricator from countertops, which obviously we don't do anything. My fabricator comes to the site when the kitchen are installed. They come and took measurements, and they took to their shops, and what my client does is only goes to the places where they sell the slabs, and my customer chooses, and they're delivered to my fabricator. My fabricator sends them to the job site owner's house. So previously, this place we look forward to having as a showroom, so where customer can come and see whether at least three categories of cabinets could be like a economic, medium size, and like one of the not highest, but like top class, where we can at least three types of cabinets people can see and because we have two large, very heavy bags of door samples where we have to carry every time we go to an estimate. So in this case, we like to have a place where customer can have everything in one place. And we've been told to if we can bring this town is very beautiful. We like it, but I don't know if it's convenient to the town to bring more customers from outside or only serve the customers in the area. So that our ideal is to give more choices to potential customers.
Mostly will be used as showroom.
Yeah.
Mostly it's going to be showroom. Eventually, sometimes maybe want to cabinet assembly over there, but it's not a lot. It's
Mm,
mostly
we-
showroom.
Yeah, we've been told to follow that category because we don't want to do, we want to do everything as laws, as the town requires. So we don't want not say, oh, we're not gonna
We
do.
don't have it, or we need it and might not have it,
yeah.
so we'd rather have it and don't
Yeah.
need it.
So we were advised to
To
fall
do
to that category, so to be in the safe spot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Any question? No question?
thank you. We'll get questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Is there anybody who's, opposed to?
Hello, everybody. I'm Kathy Dara, and I'm actually very excited about having a kitchen and bath showroom in Wendell. I think it'll bring us a lot of foot traffic. With that said, and please understand where I'm coming from, I am a little concerned with having a manufacturing company in downtown Wendell. Now, it doesn't sound like that's what you're planning to do, but we don't always continue to do what we plan to do. So, I guess I'm looking to make sure that we don't have to backtrack. So if this is all they're doing is in a little bit of assembly, then I think that would be great to put some kind of restriction that says this is all you can do. Because if you get in the cabinet, if you're going with KCB, which I know I have an account with them, it's great. They'll deliver ready, finished, they'll, for a few dollars, they'll assemble the cabinets. But at the same time, I don't want to see 2 years from now that now you're getting an 8 by 10 panels and you're going to make your own filler strips and you're going to refinish and you're going to cut the back off or cut the front off to put in a farm sink. So this can open up the door for more customized manufacturing, and that's what I don't want to do. I just don't want to bring noise to the town. So if nobody hears them, that's great. So, but that's my concern. Also, opening up manufacturing for other places. I've heard other companies, we own a manufacturing company in Wendell, and when we first came into the town, there were buildings available, but I would not, as a neighbor, put a manufacturing company in a town. So we looked outside of the town for that. So I guess that's all I have to say. It's just to be cautious. I think we're better at being cautious up front and not have to cause a fight or something later on. You don't tell your children that it's not good to play in the street when they're hanging out in the street. You try to stop them before they get there. So that's the end of, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So, first of all, thank you for coming to Wendell.
Tell us your name.
What, you don't know it?
Gotta have it.
So-
This is, we're
okay,
official tonight.
I'm Regina Harmon. You want my address too, ma'am?
Sure, throw it in.
6616 Tails Branch Road, Wendell, North Carolina. I actually own 2 businesses downtown Wendell right now, and I'm very excited to have a business like this that's gonna bring foot traffic, a showroom and everything like that. I think it's, an amazing idea. A lot of opportunities for the growth coming to our area, as I iterated earlier. I do have a concern though, because what they're saying doesn't sound like manufacturing. It sounds more like they went to Walmart, got a box of stuff, brought it back, and they gotta put some screws together with, whatever, even though it's better done. But they were informed that this fell under the manufacturing category, so that's why we're here tonight. So because of that, our town manager hasn't lived here very long. Some of you commissioners haven't been on the board but for a few years. Our mayor probably remembers this, so I want to remind you guys of a situation that came about 10 years ago with the Gavies. Guy out of Garner bought the building. He still owns it. He came before our board to ask to put a metal manufacturing company there, right where Gavies is at. He was turned down because we don't allow manufacturing. He turned it into a restaurant. He didn't run it very long. It sat empty for years. Then Agaves came along, and then they've now put in a restaurant. They're doing the best they can over there. We love them dearly. We all support them. My concern is that if we open the door to this, no matter how small, this opens the door for other manufacturing. And the possibility of this gentleman coming down, kicking them out to bring his metal shop back, because we now have okayed manufacturing in the downtown area. So, again, I wanted to bring that up and remind everyone, because a lot of you either have not lived in this area that long, sat on the board, and Mr. Collins, our town manager, has just come to the area and may not be aware of some of these situations. So, if it falls under the category of manufacturing, which, based on what they're saying, it doesn't sound like it. But if we're here to pass or deny under those terms, we need to be very careful about that, because it will open up the door for other issues if this passes. No disrespect to them whatsoever, and if you do pass it, maybe you can change the words that it's not manufacturing or something like that, you know, because we certainly don't want to hinder anybody from operating a business or doing well in our town when their whole purpose is just to make a living and stuff like that. But be careful about the vote, simply because of what it will open up for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have anything you'd like to say in response to that? Come up here to the podium, please. Okay, okay. Staff?
Just that, again, to reiterate, this doesn't open us up to anything that's manufacturing. That's why we have the 3 different classifications, and this is the kind of the lowest. This could be like if somebody had a seamstress. If you were, I mean, if you're creating even clothing or sewing, that's very light manufacturing. There's in Apex. I don't know. You went with us. There was the jewelry place.
The jewelry place.
They were making jewelry. It was very, you couldn't tell that from the outside, but they were making jewelry. That's technically manufacturing. So this is supposed to be that level that is not going to negatively impact anyone, and we're going through this process just to be, well, one, procedurally correct to a certain degree, but also abundantly cautious to make sure that everyone's clear what this is versus what this isn't, and when they get their approval, it's understood this is what you're getting approved for, and if it was then to somehow intensify over time, we'd come back and say, we're revoking that special use permit, that's not what you were approved for. So I just want to kind of clarify those points.
Does anyone from the board have any questions?
David, could you say that, run that last piece by me one more time? So if this passes tonight, things change 6 months from now or a year from now, can you walk us through what recourse we have at that point?
Right, so I mean, as part of their, they have to list in their application, they have to respond to some of the special use questions about how they are impacting, things like how would the proposed use affect the health and safety of the residents and workers of Wendell? Will the proposed use affect the use or development of adjacent properties? Things along those lines. So that's part of their application. That's part of what they're agreeing to when they apply. And they have to respond to things. They list their hours. They talk about there won't be any large trucks used to transport. They say that this won't be creating noise, will negatively affect it. So essentially, that's all part of their approval, as well as anything. If we did attach any other conditions to it tonight, that would be part of their approval. So if we come back and they were generating a lot of noise that was considered to be a nuisance, they're not in line with kind of what they explained in their application. They're not in line with the definition of neighborhood manufacturing. Then we could come back and come to the board and say that they're not in compliance with their approval, and therefore we're looking to revoke that special use permit approval.
Thank you. And David, all of those terms will be incorporated into the permit itself.
David, or maybe you can answer this. So is all the work going to be done inside the building? Is that what I'm understanding? So there'll be nothing outside being done. Will there be any, I know they said no large trucks. Is there going to be any loading, unloading of vehicles out in that area? I'm guessing, I'm just thinking as far as the side alley over there, side street over there.
Yeah, I mean, probably on the side, although, I mean, so any business on Main Street is going to have occasional loading, unloading. There is regulations to talk about, again, not more than 2 axles on a truck, so you're limiting the scope of how large of these deliveries can be. But, yeah, just like any other business downtown, there would be occasional loading, unloading. They'd likely do it on that side street. we don't have pre-designated loading, unloading zones for the downtown for the most part.
And then when they say it is rare that we can cut boards, have they given you any indication as far as what rare means for them? I mean, is that is that, we don't think it ever will happen, but we just want to say rare? Is that once a month? Is that?
So we could ask for clarification on that. I don't have a number
I'm
for what
just
that
curious,
means. Yeah. So we could ask them to clarify that, or any other items the board may have, if there's anything else.
To me, it sort of seems like a matter of semantics. I mean, next door, they manufacture breakfast every morning out of discrete parts that they have delivered. You know, and you talk about somebody making jewelry, it counts as manufacturing. Somebody sewing, you know, does Larry's tailor shop, does that count as light manufacturing? I just took him 2 little boy suits to have them tailored. You know, does that count as manufacturing? I think if they're gonna have a showroom and they're just putting things together to put in the showroom, or they're just keeping stock in the back to send out somewhere else, I mean, I don't really see an issue here. Nothing that I heard sounded like they were gonna have table saws or edge banders or anything of that nature, and they're doing real heavy woodworking. That's not what I heard.
Right, and I did ask them, I mean, this wasn't included as part of their application, but I did ask them, because I thought it would come up, what equipment they would be using, and they said, I think a 3-gallon generator and a staple gun. Compressor, excuse me, 3-gallon compressor and a staple gun. So, yeah, nothing's been communicated to me to suggest any heavy grade equipment going on in there.
Okay, okay, answered every question I had then.
In the zoning map that you provided in the agenda package, you have indicated that more space than just the, you can't really tell because it's red and this is pink, but you've got a square around the whole way.
So that's one parcel, but the application would just be for the, you know, the address is specific to this
So
tenant
we're
space.
not permitting this for that entire parcel, are we?
Right, correct.
Just the florist's place, okay?
Correct.
To clarify, David, it's just the portion of that tenant space, not the primary tenant space, it's just the
Right.
portion of.
Yeah, even then, yeah, so the tenant space is only a portion of that parcel.
Right.
And the request for the neighborhood manufacturing is specifically, that's why we asked them for how many square feet for that 448 square feet in the back portion of that roughly 2,000 square foot tenant space. So yeah, so the neighborhood manufacturing would only be allowed in that back roughly 450 square feet space.
Okay. And I read in the application also, there's something in place regarding dust and things like that, is that correct?
Right, so I mean, they did respond to that as part of one of their special use questions, stating, the adjacent properties will be unaffected because no hazardous chemicals or substances are used, produced, or stored. The showroom has oh wait, sorry, that's not where the dust was. Sorry, in the number 3 response, it says cabinets are pre-cut by the manufacturer. We will only piece them together on site. It's rare that we have to cut boards or panels for cabinets. If any dust is produced, then dust collector will be used as needed. We follow general safety rules and regulations, have workers' compensation and liability insurance.
What about the noise regarding the Eastwick Education Foundation? Because the back of that building, does that not bump right up against them, part of their?
So it does bump up to that parcel. I can't remember if that entire parcel is used for Eastwick, if there's anything else.
There's storage back there, and I'm not sure where
Yeah.
that overlap takes place, but I know that's where they have a little, and that part of their building is a preschool classroom, and, you know, I don't want it to be noisy in the, I'm trying to make sure that we're being respectful of our
Sure.
already existing tenants, in that place. I think that, I mean, I've thought about it. I think our goal in our downtown is to have, I think someone told me it was a retail experience. And to me, it's a retail and dining experience. And as wonderful as cabinets are, I'm not sure that, for me, and I don't get to vote, but that it's best suited on Main Street. That's just, you know, I don't know that contractor sales and assembly is the best thing for our Main Street. It's just my opinion. So does anyone else have any, questions or comments? And a compressor is a little noisy. So, I mean, that isn't quiet, air compressor.
Just limit the amount of tools, because then they're not gonna grow into anything more if they can't.
Yeah, I don't think we can be that specific, and, I mean, either, yeah, I don't think so. I think either you pass it or you don't. You know, other than the things that the attorney mentioned would be written in there. Anyone else?
So, David, your opinion is that, based on the applicant and what they've seen, noise would be handled under the existing, noise ordinance?
I mean, what's been described to me isn't anything incredibly intense.
No, I completely agree, but
Yeah.
if we were to,
I mean, I'll say our noise ordinance is somewhat, it's a little bit subjective in that it's essentially, it doesn't have set decibel levels that say if you exceed 45 decibels between these times, you're in violation. So it's a little more subjective for police to be able to say that, yes, that is considered a nuisance level noise versus not. That's what, part of the reason why I was suggesting we, you know, could maybe look at something that talked about basically, because outside you're going to have ambient levels of noise from cars passing, people talking, whatever, streetlight buzzing. So if you were just making sure that this wasn't creating more noise when you were standing outside of this than any other store, you know, standing out another store, you might hear people talking from inside, other things along those lines. You could maybe protect that a little bit more, but certainly if it was being very loud, I think that the police could use the existing noise ordinance to seek enforcement.
okay. And as you, Alan, earlier, we would have the ability to revoke the permit if at a future date we determined that they were not in compliance?
Yeah, I mean, if they're violating the stipulations of what they've applied for, and we include that in our approval, then yes.
Okay.
Do we know anything about what hours they're gonna be open?
So yes, they listed, that's number 6 in their response, and they said, you know, typically 9 to 5, but occasionally 8 to 8. So, I mean, it would be capped. So basically, if they were making noise at 8:30, you could say you're not even supposed to be open at this time. So, I mean, that would be much easier to enforce.
And I assume, is this gonna be the kind of business that if someone needs cabinets, are they gonna close and lock the door and leave to go take the cabinets to them? And so, I'm just trying to get at whether or not the doors are gonna be open during business hours. I'm just curious.
That I don't know.
Could the applicant
Yeah,
come
could you-
forward?
Yeah, someone always will be there. Let's say, me, for example, from 9 to 5, someone is gonna be there. Mostly cabinets and everything is gonna be assembled, not in the shop, but, at the KCD, there's someone, and from there they take it to the owners or where they're gonna be installed.
Right.
So like we say, we're not gonna be assembled every single day or every month. It could be maybe once every 2 months or every month, one time. So we don't know for sure how much, but definitely it's not gonna be like on a daily basis stuff, or we're gonna keep, working.
Will you be open 6 days a week, Monday through
No,
Saturday?
5 days a week, 9 to 5,
So Monday through Friday,
Monday to Friday.
not open on Saturday?
Probably only showroom, because we understand the summer's coming, and we've been heard that people like to walk.
But your business, whether I'm not talking about your assembly, I'm talking about your business. Would your
business.
business be open
Probably
6 days a week?
Probably till noon on Saturday.
Noon on Saturday,
Yeah.
not all day?
Yeah, the ideal is obviously to make business, my business will grow, and if I sell one kitchen a month, that would be ideal for us. One kitchen a month, that would be good business for us. Or eventually, if as the business grow, we definitely would like to get someplace else, a big place like a warehouse, anywhere but the downtown, because we understand the concerns that everybody has about the noise. But right now, we don't know if, after this permit is being issued or not, denied, we don't know how long we will stay here, probably a month or two, we don't know, 3 months, hopefully longer. Right now, because the ongoing construction around the building is being constructed, they're definitely, and I'll not say that because of them you have to give me the, allow me the permit, no. What I'm saying is, my noise, obviously I need a compressor, which is a stapler gun, what I need for assembling my cabinet. That'll be the biggest noise, my compressor. My compressor doesn't run all day. If I need to assemble 5 cabinets for a kitchen, that will take me probably less than an hour. And the walls between I forgot the PDs, the
Over in
restaurant?
PDs.
Oh,
PDDs,
Yeah, the walls are 18 inches, isolated block, center block wall. And I asked him, he said he will be here today. He said he's part of the board, so he said he had no issue. I asked him because the realtor who asked me to this place knows everyone in the area. So he introduced him to him. We introduced ourselves with a coffee shop, and I've been doing noise there because I did some 2 cabinets for sample, and my compressor nobody hears until they see my truck, my van, which is the biggest truck that I have.
Cargo van.
It's a cargo van, and no the larger truck would because I'm not ordering massive amount of. If I sell one kitchen a month, that will be myself that will go order and have it delivered. That'll be it. But I want to clarify this. That yes, if as business grow, I will probably come here and say now this place is not going to be 100%. It won't be 100% retail. We'll 100% showroom. No more nothing or assembly. We can probably find a larger place, some place else where we can hire more people. We can hire more people for some of the cabinets. Here, we don't plan to one kitchen a day.
So that's something I was thinking when you were speaking earlier, and I didn't understand everything you said. You said you might be leaving in a few months, but you would keep the showroom there and move your assembly portion of your business elsewhere because you would need more space to do that.
Yeah, well, we're trying to minimize
Noise concerns, or
we like to just have a nice showroom and have other place. It depends on the business growth. Because we now only we doing kitchen. We do painting, drywall, we do a lot of interior home improvement. We're not just focusing on kitchen. Kitchen we just haven't, as we say previously, just to show, just to get to the client how an actual cabinet looks like. Because the door doesn't say much.
Yeah.
We have 2 bags of 10 doors each bag. We have to carry every time. But now, since the client like to come here, some of the clients will not come here because they say it was Wendell. It's an hour-and-a-half driving. We live in Cary. So just to get here, it takes about an hour, regular time, and rush hour will probably take an hour-and-a-half. So we're not planning to be here later than 5 o'clock. For instance, in case I need to stay there for any reason, it won't be for an assembling cabinet. If we need to assemble a cabinet, it has to be the regular hours.
I would like your showroom to be open later than 5 o'clock. That's why I was asking.
Thank you. And also we're going to sell, we had our distributor of tile, which is like, we like to also have a display of tile with floor tile.
Tiles.
Wall tile, backsplash tile, something that owner can have. I want this cabinet, I want this kind of tile, and I want this backsplash.
Right.
That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
David, just one question for you. When you mentioned earlier during your presentation about the, just an idea was you had mentioned about the decibel levels and where we could set it even at, the remaining equal to or below the current sound levels on the street. Is it something that would even be able to be added as a condition?
I'm gonna seek assistance from the attorney on that. You see it problematic to attach a condition basically saying that, to me, that's in line with the definition of neighborhood manufacturing, so that's why I thought it'd be.
No problem.
Okay. No problem?
All right, I'll make a motion if we're ready for that, Mayor.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the special use request, for the rear portion of 36 North Main Street, with the condition that decibel levels remain equal to or below the current sound levels, on at that location.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve with the condition that decimal levels remain equal to or below the current levels in the location. Did I restate it correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, unless you've got a
Question.
baseline, I don't know what current level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what I proposed was just that it not be higher than the surrounding adjacent uses within that block. So if there was a concern about noise, you could go outside of that one, see what it was. You go across the street, see what it was, and if it's not any higher than that, then
That's
you
fine.
know.
I'll modify my motion to reflect that statement, the current.
So you make a motion to approve based on the decimal levels, go no higher than other businesses, am I stating it correctly, in the area?
Surrounding property.
Surrounding properties,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
All right.
All right. Was anyone opposed? I'm sorry, it's hard to see sometimes. All right, great, thank you. You know what, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Anything fun? You're looking at it. Oh, okay, well, I didn't know if the kids had, made you cake.
Yeah, we had sprinkled pancakes and a cookie dough from McDonald's and all sorts of fun.
Birthday? Tuesday being sprinkled, whatever.
Yeah.
McDonald's served cone and.
Yeah, any
Tuesday you wanna go?
Right. You gotta try the cookie dough.
Cookie dough?
Cookie tote. 12 chocolate chip cookies in a little tote, and they're yeah.
I just need your metabolism.
I don't know.
Hiding from you.
It's just a recess.
We've been having a problem getting the files to the studio, not been coming through, so when you get through, I'll check and see what files are there. They're all.
Hey, Joe.
That's not a bad neighbor to have, they get rodents and reptiles, unless they're in the house with you. Yeah.
Warns me it might not be safe.
Oh, heck, you just go down the road where my house at and turn them loose, that's where they all seem to hang out.
Mary, you going to Charlotte?
No. You?
I'm on the fence. If I get there, it won't be till Thursday.
Yeah, and we might not make it.
We might not be playing Thursday.
Yeah,
Or we might not be playing Friday.
That's right. We always go when we did, when it was in Greensboro. You can just buy tickets, people leaving, you go up and just buy them, but no, we're not going. No, just too busy, too much going on.
I agree. I'm
Yeah.
kinda in the same boat. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but
I'd like to, it's always fun. We go sometimes to the women's tournament in Greensboro. It's fun to go watch. fun day.
I liked it better before they changed the schedule.
Yeah, I know.
Now it takes such a time commitment.
It does, and it starts earlier so that they can finish Saturday instead of Sunday, and so it's another day of work.
Get you what?
Still gotta stay Saturday night.
That's right. You're locked in, I know.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
When Ben leans over and goes,
I'm highly doubtful, but I'm not completely ruled
Yeah, I
out.
know, we want to go, and last weekend, we watched wrestling all day. All day, I'm exhausted still from it. Bruce had the TV on, he had the computer on, so he could see both mats.
Wow.
And, yeah, we had a big time. State won the conference championship. He was very excited.
Good.
So, we watched that. We watched the men play and the women. We had television in there for the basketball. It was all sports marathon.
They play like they did at Boston College, we'll have a good day.
We might. All right, let's get started back. Item 6A is a discussion of requests for proposals for information technology services. We're going to hear from Town Manager Mark Collins.
Old draft.
What?
Financial policies.
Okay, I have the old one in front of me.
My apologies.
No, it's my fault. I'm looking at the old one. I've got too many papers up here.
So tonight staff has a few brief recommended changes that we're presenting tonight. No action is being requested tonight. You'll have a couple weeks or as long as you'd like to review the goals in front of you. We'll put it back if there aren't any issues on the consent agenda at the next meeting for your consideration. I'll briefly go through the goals quickly. Probably more slides than I need here. It's a pre-existing policy that's being added to, so it's not a new policy. The first one in the general comments is to strike one small phrase, but basically to clarify that we need to be compliant to the Local Government Fiscal Control Act and that our policies follow general accepted accounting principles and recommendation of Government Finance Officers Association recommendations. Moving on into the goals to page 3 under fund balance and reserves. Recommend adding 2 new bullets in addition to one. The first new bullet just clarifies how the fund balance reserve percentage is calculated so that the public and the commission is able to see how that math is done that staff does annually. The fourth bullet has an addition. It's just to further clarify the existing policy statement. The example of an early retirement of debt does reduce ongoing expenses, but I just put another one there that so would the reduction of debt necessary to complete a significant capital project. So if you apply fund balance reserve, you don't have to borrow as much, and therefore it's less interest over a period of time. That meets that same policy intent. The last new bullet meets the GFO requirement, but it's just if you expend funds and you go below 40% and identifies a policy of how you replenish it. That's still consistent with the intent of your policies, but was missing at this point. That's all under fund balance and reserves. Next one is over on page 4 under capital improvement program. There's an addition to the second bullet. But basically in the CIP, staff will attempt to forecast project revenues and resources required to finance capital improvement plans. It just captures the previous board policy that's been communicated to ensure that plans represent projects that can be realistically funded by the town. This is also consistent with the Government Finance Officers Association recommended policy. Next bullet's new. The CIP will be established in collaboration with town departments and provide public input in the budget process. That's no change in current practice, that's just putting practice into words. No policy change. Under 6, tax rate and fees, just a slight addition that doesn't change the policy, but further clarifies the town will strive to maintain the tax rate and fees at the lowest possible level, and then a reason to provide the level of services established by the commission in the annual budget. I mean, we could set a tax rate at 0. It'd be the lowest possible, but it's not achieving your service goals. At this time, it's all staff's recommending a change at your next meeting. There's nothing significant or major there. What we'd like to be able to do, though, is with this slight amendment, get that into the budget document that GFOA will review, and then we'll get additional revisions back, and we'll be able to talk through those over a longer period of time in the coming years. But it's just a couple quick ones that we noticed in a quick review prior to the budget process. I'm welcome to take any questions you have tonight, or any time that y'all want to talk between now and adoption.
Does anyone have any questions?
Mr. Collins, on just the front page here, I just noticed it looks like the original date is May 26th, 2009. To your knowledge, is the last time that it's been updated?
The last time it was updated was March 13th, 2017.
Okay.
And that date superseded the 2009 date.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I saw that back. I was thinking we were still in the year 2017.
Yeah, on the 2009, that's probably like where in these economic times kind of wording came from with the recession.
Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of, you want the wording to outlive current economies in a policy.
Any other questions for the manager? Okay, thank you. All right, item 7A, snapshot. Anyone have any comments or questions about the snapshot? Anything you want to add, take on, off?
Madam Mayor, knowing one of the emails we received this past week, as well as I've gotten 1 or 2 questions, if we could add the Battle Bridge Road Bridge project to the snapshot, just so that we have one place to look for that information.
Yeah, okay.
And it'll allow us to track it as things change.
Okay, so we'll add that. Anything else? All right, item 7B is update by town board committees by town board members. The first is a Triangle J Council of Governments Executive Roundtable. That's me. I did not attend that last week. The meeting this past week was going to be held at the Piedmont Agricultural and Food Processing Center in Hillsboro. It's a good ways away, over an hour, and that would have made me unable to get to another appointment that I had later on to get back in time. Sometimes I have overlapping obligations and I have to weigh what I can go to, and as much as I'm sure the food processing center is interesting, it wasn't something I could make that day, so I will get some minutes and some information about that, and if any of it pertains to anything about Wendell, I'll be happy to pass that on to anyone who's interested. The next one is the Wendell Fire Board, Commissioner Joyner.
Like Madam Mayor, I was unable to attend that board meeting, however, had a conversation with 3 different folks that were at the meeting that report we continue to move forward in our upcoming budget process with the county, as well as plan for the opening of our station, new station.
Thank you. And I think Commissioner Boyette wanted to give us a quick report on our clerk search.
Yes, received a few dozen applications, and with some quality candidates, and a handful, and have been selected for interview and some sort of practical exercises. Look forward to knocking those out in the next week or so, and, making a decision perhaps in the next 2 weeks, or a month, so.
Okay.
Don't know how it goes, but it's looking good.
All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, Commissioners' reports, and start with Commissioner, Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended a couple of different events since our last meeting. And I'm sure that those will be covered by other folks that are sitting to my left that were also at those events, and I'll say they were great. I'm going to reserve my time this evening to talk about a friend, to talk about what I'll call a local legend, at least in my mind. Joel Moody passed away last Tuesday. Joel lived diagonally from me, and often when you come to a new town, the first person that meets you or the first person that reaches out to you, you remember. I certainly remember Joel. Joel was born here, went to Wendell, graduated from Wendell High School. There was a story told at his celebration of life on Saturday that I think gets part of Joel's personality, but when playing for Wendell High School, apparently they put him into the basketball game. He was a catcher. He was a baseball player, put him in the basketball game, and it took a grand total of 2 minutes for him to foul out. And I think if you knew Joel, Joel he was the most compassionate person I'd ever met, but he was fiercely compassionate. When he had your back, he had your back completely. And it was really the embodiment of everything good about Wendell in my mind. He would disagree with you when he disagreed with you. But he was the best advocate for Wendell to our family very early on, right after we moved in. And as my wife texted me Tuesday night, she said, "This is the first night he won't be watching over us." Because if you knew Joel, Joel watched over you. So I just really want to emphasize that as a community, when we have people that are with us, we need to make sure that we acknowledge them while they're with us. And when they go, it's also our responsibility to acknowledge what they did while they were here. For Joel, it was starting in Wendell and Germany, Vietnam, Saudi Arabia, and then multiple jobs in Wendell and raised a family here. So certainly my condolences to his wife, Miss Pat, and Henry, his son. And when we move to adjourn this evening, I'll be moving to adjourn in honor and memory of Joel Moody.
Thank you. Commissioner Boyette?
No comments tonight.
Commissioner Lutz?
I just will give a commendation to the town staff and to the parents committee who did a great job with our Party for Purpose, and thank you for all their hard work they did, and to Mr. White for allowing us to use his showroom. I thought that was a great location and made it for a real nice event, so well done for everybody. That's all.
Commissioner Carroll?
No comment.
Real briefly, since we last met, I attended Stars in the East. That's held every year at East Wake High School and showcases students, not all children, from the Eastern Wake County area. The students from Carver, Wendell Elementary School, Wendell Middle School, East Wake High School participated. The performances were wonderful. I was very proud, very impressed, and it was nice to have something that showcased our kids. They kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes with the big Wake County pieces of gold, I believe. So it was nice for them to have something where they could be showcased. And I sat with the town manager, and he has two sons that are very musically talented, a saxophone player and a drummer. He was very proud of them. They did outstanding.
Thank you, Mayor.
So you're welcome. So if they were here, I could embarrass them for you, but they're not here. But just tell them I embarrassed them.
I'll embarrass
them. So they did a very good job, though, and it was nice to see them. They're both high school age. So I also celebrated vigorously Read Across America Day last Friday. I was invited to read at several classes at Wendell Elementary School and then at East Wake Academy. I think by the time the day was over, I read 8 separate books, some to double classes, and answered numerous questions by third graders and second graders and some first graders. So It was a long day, very fun. All the children were well-mannered and engaging and listening and laughing at me, getting tongue-tied, and some of those Dr. Seuss books can be tough sometimes. I've got one or two I won't be taking anymore just to avoid that. Already got that figured out. So it was a rookie mistake, but I won't do that again. Last year I didn't read Dr. Seuss books. This year I did, and it got me. I also attended Party with a Purpose, and I want to thank the Appearance Commission and the town staff. It was a wonderful evening. Mr. White, thank you so much. It was a nice evening. It showed once again that here in Wendell we do know how to do things well, and I think sometimes people forget that. If you've never been, I would encourage you to go next year. It's a wonderful event, well attended. It's a nice time. Fun to be around all the folks in Wendell. I also attended the Wendell Community Partners Board meeting. They are in the process right now. That's the nonprofit's been established to have events in our downtown. They are collecting pledges and collecting the ones that have already been pledged and looking for more. So don't run if you see anybody coming asking. There's no schedule of events at this time. I think they want to earn some more money before they schedule more events. And I have a couple of reminders. Saturday, March 23rd, the Wendell Tree Board is celebrating Arbor Day at the Town Square at 10 o'clock. I hope you'll join us there. It's a free event. Kids get to help plant a tree at the square. It'll be there forever. You can ride by and look at it and have a nice memory of that. And then on Saturday, March 30th, 2019, is the Wendell Pro Town BMX show on Main Street. There are two free shows, one at 11 and one at 2. During the show, it says you'll be able to smell good eats because the second annual People's Choice Barbecue Challenge at Grillbilly's is going to be taking place at noon. So what you can do is watch the show at 9, go eat at noon, come back at 2. So you can fit it all in. That's probably what my husband will be doing, taking the show and enjoy the barbecue right around here. It's always a fun time, and Grillbilly's is a great community partner for us. We appreciate them being here. One last thing, the Wendell Council of Churches is having their spring food drive. I believe Mr. Briggerman mentioned that last time we were here. Saturday, April 6th, the members of the Wendell Council of Churches are going to put out bags for you to fill with non-perishable food items, and then they will collect them on the 13th. I'm the world's worst for forgetting and having to take mine myself every year, so please try to remember to get it back out the 13th. I'm going to do the same. And these bags are desperately needed to restock our food pantries here in Wendell. We have a lot of folks who have a lot of needs, so try to fill up one of those bags for us, if you would. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Mayor, I do move we adjourn in memory of Joel Moody.
All right, thank you very much. We're adjourned.